Please don't get hit by my hop kicks.
Is LPN here? I just want to play him. Is that him over there?
Are you lamer boy? Why did you flash kick?
Norcal sucks, dude.
It doesn't matter what you think!
And here is your host, Higashi!
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Hey, thank you for joining us on episode 12, I think, for the Ronin Rambles Podcast. And today we got some awesome dudes here. We got OneTimeHero. He was here for the Norcal podcast. Say what's up, Leo.
Hey, everybody.
And next, we've got Dojo Joser. You probably see him on the tournament grounds looking for matches to play on his stream. He's one of the only Falk mains ever, probably. Say what's up, dude.
What's going on, y'all?
And lastly, we've got Brass, Eric. He's one of the longest and most talented commentators that we got in NorCal. He's also known as San Francisco Zangief, and he'll always give you a run for your money. Say what's up, dude.
What's up, guys? Happy to be here.
All right. So yeah, as always, please let me know how the audio is. It's usually on or off. Hopefully it's on today. But yeah, how are you guys doing though? It's been a while since I've especially seen you, Brass, and Joser. I think the last time I saw Brass was like a year or something, right?
In the before times, man.
In the before times.
Yeah,
dude.
absolutely. It's been, time keeps on slipping. Perception of time is so wacky right now. It absolutely feels like I've absolutely forever. But I'm doing well. I'm doing great. Very lucky to be in the position I'm in during all this. And yeah, just happy to be here talking with you guys.
Yeah,
Nice,
same here.
nice. Yeah, because you moved to
Yeah.
Sacramento, right?
Moved to Sacramento a little over 2 years ago, and that's been great.
Nice,
Being
nice.
in that area.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, and Joser, you've I've seen you at WNF plenty of times, but how you doing, dude? It's been a while.
Doing good. Just hunkering down here, trying to practice best social safe distancing for like the best of past 6 months.
All
So
right.
no, I'm doing great. Just fortunate to be here, and thank you for having me.
Okay, nice, dude. Yeah. So we kind of dubbed this as like the Dojo podcast because we got a couple guys from the dojo here. I'm kind of curious, like, what exactly is that, and how did it come to be, and just yeah.
I feel like we'll
tell
have
us about it.
I feel like we're gonna have different answers for this.
Hey, different answers is totally fine.
Wait,
I'm-
this
I'm-
is a good.
Yeah, was
I
gonna
feel
say,
like
go ahead.
I feel like I'm in a prisoner's dilemma. I
Like we're gonna backstab each other.
yeah, like I think when you have like a session that you have very frequently, you got to give it a name or something.
Yeah.
Everybody gives their stuff a name, like about Den Dojo, right? Or about something sessions. I think 707 used to have them. And so like we were calling it Dojo, and then we were calling it like Dojo 1 and Dojo 2 after we had the great expansion. Then there was seceding from the nation. We called that his sessions. And then we had it was just a lot of different things, but it has no real. We don't have any plaques, and we don't have any wood tiles for anyone. There's no kanji that describes anyone's names. But yeah, go ahead, Eric. Maybe you can go next.
Like I would say, it's a crew name. It's a lot of training partners and friends that have stayed together. And it's funny that Leo says, no plaques, no, nothing physical, but there is kind of overlapping ideas on how to approach the game, I would say. I do feel like a lot of us think similarly and not so much, especially back in the SF4 days when we were like really active and super learning the game and grinding the sessions every week. We were approaching the game differently than other people learning it. And so we did feel like there was some distinction there in how we practiced, how we approached things. Not like as a big thing, but Leo talks about no style, right? He brings that up a lot. That was kind of born out of sort of us agreeing on how we like to approach fighting. Does that make sense, Leo?
Interesting.
Oh, I mean, if anything,
Well,
yeah, like it.
These are
it's a
conversations we
moniker.
had so long ago.
So yeah,
Right.
it's kind of like you're trying to talk about how you discovered water or something. And so I think that for us, I very much disliked a few things, right? I disliked Norcal checklist term. I don't like it so much. I respect it, but I don't like it.
What are you referring to that?
It's
Yeah,
kind of
what
like
is
the old term that people would call like, oh, if the opponent can't anti-air, just keep jumping. And so then, like,
the
you would
game
just-
plan checklist.
So game plan checklist, I think I have a much more nuanced version of that now that I like. But before it was like, this is what I like to do. I just like to play, I run my head against a wall, and if I crush them, I'm the best. And if I don't crush them, I mean, my style didn't work.
Are you
and so
not
I
the
really
best,
just
though?
hated that stuff. Me?
Are you not the best?
If you're winning, I guess you're the best, right? But we were making we were making ideas that were different, which is, there's no styles, right? There's only decisions. You're losing and you're learning, right? You remember that one?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something that Herman brought up the last time, actually. If you're losing, you're learning.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
these are-
It's really
these
good,
are
though.
our-
It makes sense.
You're either winning or learning. It's not
Okay.
really- But
Yeah.
another thing about kind of like the no styles, only decisions, sort of, in my opinion, from my perspective, stems from if your style can be labeled, that's information.
Mhm.
If you can label a style as aggressive, defensive, whatever, there's preconceived notions that can be used against your game, right? When people say that Daigo played a certain way back in the day, they're like, oh, he would just tear people apart. It's like, okay, but that doesn't mean that he's pressuring every time on wake up. It's not so much that his entire game plan leans a certain way. It's about the individual decisions. But I think for me, if your style can be labeled, that's useful for everyone else.
Mhm.
Like if you're categorized as an aggressive player, your opponent can go, okay, there will be more risk taking than not, and there's something that can be taken advantage of. So I feel, one of the reasons why I feel like the term style sort of tracks from simply good decisions versus bad.
That reminds
And
me of the Korea gaming video, actually,
Mhm.
where he talks about laughs, like the way he sees like certain play styles, like the heart, the mind, and the body.
Mm.
And I
Right.
think it's a really good way to categorize people in terms of like
Right,
playing
right.
against them.
Definitely there's so many distinctions that we've seen for players who are highly, highly fundamental technical and players who are highly, highly art. How they've both had their moment to shine. It's definitely, there's reality.
And Jose, you were going to say something?
Totally lost my train of thought, but keep on going. Sorry.
Yeah. So we thought that it would be really good, and I got to we had a decently large apartment, and after a while Eric got to move in with me over there too, so that was kind of great. And we would have people over
That was awesome.
every weekend, and at the time I used to hang out with Kaneda all the time, Terry, and so we would just we're not the highest level people, but we were playing at the highest level like all the time. Like the way I like to joke a lot about how I'm 2-2 with Daigo and casuals, which I am in Street Fighter 4. Yeah, I am. And so in Street Fighter 4 I am, because he was like, from what I could tell, he was profoundly surprised how I was jabbing his like fireball startup all the time from a certain distance. Like, because we practiced, me and, for example, it was like me, Harji, Eric, Terry, whatever. It's like, for some reason, down to the wire, it actually matters if we're winning or not every single game for some reason, because you just get made fun of if you're losing all the time. And so then we would watch videos of Daigo and them play, and then we would talk about how to make those decisions differently all the time. We would always be like that. So when Eric was living with me, we would have some scenarios where he and I would play first to 10, and Eric might wash like 10-3. And and people say don't go to bed angry, right? But
It's usually married couples, but
it's the same thing. And so I would go into my room, then I would focus very a lot about what I was doing wrong, right? Like it was the only thing that mattered. And then the next day you come in there, it's 6:30 p.m. 7. It's like, hey man, you want to play first to 10? You don't tell
once
him,
you're a step ahead, right?
Yeah, I got that 8 hours of sleep and I meditated. And so we just want ideally everyone to do that. And then that's why for Jose, who has yet to speak about it, but Jose, who was later part of the group, and sometimes we joke around, he's VP and etc. He created the crack den, which is the or Dojo Joser or
Dojo
his
Joser.
session.
I like Dojo.
That's pretty
I like
good.
that name a
That's
lot.
pretty good.
Yeah, so he created this thing, and it was kind of like our open session. So if we had a closed version, which is limited because of space, and then we had Joser's group, we would be able to invite young talent and people like that. And it was really, really good. It was nothing like CEO Dreamland, but it was very much an open area for people to play and learn.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think I was just fortunate enough to be in a position where we had the space to literally hold sessions, and I really wanted to make an impact for the community in terms of just having it grow all together. So like I would invite people over, and then like I would buy setups. I think I still have like multiple PS4s around here, but
Yeah.
and just just invite as many people as can, have everyone play each other round robin if need be. But ultimately is more for the community than Dojo's or my session.
So you said you have multiple PS4s? How many do you have then?
Let me see. I have 1, 2, 3. I think I've sold off 2, but I think
So you had 5?
I had like 5. No.
Oh, wow.
And then we'd have people say, "Hey, can you bring in more setups?" So like these sessions would literally grow to be like, I don't know, let's say like 10 setups, and then we'd have like 30 people, sometimes even more, and just play each other until like 3 a.m. It was great. We got police called on us a couple of times, but
I think I remember that.
yeah.
Yeah, and then Joser had Knuckle Do stay over sometimes. It was kind of like the FGC hostel at some point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have our
I
own
think-
little tournaments, stuff like that, first to 5.
Yeah, I think whenever Capcom Cup was in town, we'd host a couple of people. I think we've had Knuckle Do, we've had Infiltration, we've had other people, just people from SoCal.
Right.
Yeah.
So you are
Yeah.
a baller then, dude. 5 PS4s, dude.
I mean, what? I guess, but it like I said, it was never for me. It was more for the community. I just wanted to
Right.
see everyone just play.
One big flex. That's all I want.
Yeah, so like regardless of Jose's like overall financial status, I mean, you can tell by the amount of SNES cards how much money he has, right? So let's just leave it at that, okay?
You know what?
This
I
whole
should have put a
collection
migraine
back there.
strain.
No, dude, it looks really good. I like it a lot. You definitely put a lot of time into it.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate
That's
that.
an awesome display.
So like, when exactly did the dojo like be a thing then exactly? Because for me, like, I'm an 016er, so I wasn't really there for the incarnation, I guess, or when it came to be about. But like, I'm just curious, like, how long have you guys been doing this?
I mean, I met Leo end of 2010, I think, at Starbase. Oh no, at Evo.
You guys met at Evo.
We
Wow.
met at
Evo?
Evo 2011. It would have been 2011. I probably maybe bumped into you a little bit before that at some locals.
We definitely met at Starbase, right? We met at Evo.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I would say that's kind of. I feel like we started hanging out at a specific Evo, even if we were aware of each other. ahead of
Oh,
time.
you're
I
right.
mean, back then too, like I was so fresh and I was like 19, so I couldn't even show up to a lot of these. So it was things were a little. There was a lot of locals back then. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And if
There-
you knew me, I was at every local, right? Like,
Yeah.
so me, Harji, and Terry would travel all over NorCal.
That's
to
the real
basically every place.
precursor to Dojo. That's the real precursor, right? To, like you, Terry, and Harj.
Right. So I mean, okay. So if we want to go like super before 4 type of stuff,
Yeah,
like,
we should.
so earlier, so a long time ago, like when I met Terry and stuff, Parker was playing a lot with Keystone at the time. So we can't forget Parker, who's not here, by the way.
He's alive.
Yeah, he's alive somewhere.
here.
And so we would go to Hyro's place like every single Monday. And
Exactly
after a
that way.
while, after a while, after I lost my relationship through Street Fighter and stuff, basically, I'm going to 3, 4, 5 sessions a week, and then tournaments on the weekend for Street Fighter 4. That's how stupid I was, right? I was just going at it.
We
Just
had
like
multiple weekday locals
Going
too.
hard.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
God. Like it was amazing, right? Because it was just like I can't get enough of playing this game. Oh my God, you have a Star Cab? Oh cool. Oh my God, you have a 90-pound TV? I'll play on that. Like I'll play on anything. You want to play on the? You want to play outside? I'll go. We played.
Play in the bathroom.
That was the reality too. There were outside tournaments where you're literally just out there in the sunlight if it was early in the day, or you're out there at night. Yeah, there was locals of every variety back then too. They were trying to coordinate what days everything needed to be on. We had basically it was a Tuesday through Friday at some. We had something on every night because Southtown Starbase was simultaneous. There was a Thursday. Was TNT existing simultaneously?
Yeah, TNT.
Just TNT, and then they made
X Factor.
TNT North and South, and then there was
Right.
X Factor, and then there
Like
was
we split regions. There was a TNT North and a TNT South, and they ran different games.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's how much
Jesus
overlap there
Christ.
used to be in locals during the Marvel 3 SF4 King of Fighters era.
Not to
Yeah.
mention Cross Tekken.
There was, well, right. And there was like, there was real overlap there because people were so hungry, and we didn't even entertain the idea of online being great practice back then. Very few people were super good online, but back then we were just like, no, we have 4 locals a week. It doesn't matter that we have a delay based support. People weren't talking about rollback for a few more years and everything. So I think people just accepted it was an offline game. Fighting games were offline entirely, and
oh yeah, and
there
there's
had to be locals if you were.
right, and we had SVGL and stuff, and they had basically an early copy of the game. We there was a lot of other reasons, like people were just really into it. So when Hyros kind of like went away, I think that's what happened. When Hyros went away, it created like the opportunity to have people come over to my place, because I'm at, like I said, I'm at Scunchin's place, I'm at Hyros' place, and later I'm at Terry's place. I'm basically never at home. So all of a sudden, this one day kind of opens up. And I don't know if we end up using that day or if it ended up being Thursday or something. But we started having some people come over to my place and stuff like that. And because at that point I was girlfriendless. I mean, Sick might remember, he's in the chat right now. Like, as soon as I lost my bonds at that time and won my first tournament when I became the King of 209, I think that we started being able to have sessions at the apartment regularly. And so we started wanting to do that. And with that, we were also really interested in trying to grow the scene in terms of wanting to make friends. So I was part of, again, like Terry, trying to run a lot of tournaments and stuff like that and trying to help with that a lot. And my main focus a lot of the time was, I want to know everybody who goes to the tournament. I want to know who they play. I want to know what they like. Do they like diet soda? I want to know everything. So I would say hi to everybody. Everybody knows, well, in my mind, I think everybody knows me. And so that's how we met Jose.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for me, I'm a tried and true 09er. I was gonna say, someone mentioned about delay based netcode not being really important. Well, for me, it kind of was, because like I was just gonna say, it's like I played Street Fighter 4 and I loved it. I thought I was like super good. I was super good, like just smashing DP with Cammy and whatnot. And then about a year later, I see this Facebook post about there being a local Street Fighter tournament at Golfland. I'm like, oh, sweet.
MGL?
Yeah, MGL. So
I think it was TNT South at the time.
Yeah. So I wanted to test my metal. I want to see how good I was. And lo and behold, I am scrubby as as all can be.
Everyone gets bodied at the first local.
Of course. Yeah. But that's where I met, Leo and everyone else. And I've been part of the FTC ever since.
What year was so that was 09?
No, I would say probably like 2010, 2011-ish. Yeah.
Because I feel like we were in a similar boat where we just played the game so much just at home for all of 2009 and then sort of found out that was a lot. I know Leo was more in CVS2, so he's exposed earlier. But for like me and Jose, it's just like, oh my god, Street Fighter 4 is so fun. This is unbelievable. And then we find out about it. It's like I was printing out map quests to go to my first
Oh god, man.
Map quest.
and if you made a wrong turn, that didn't autocorrect. That's a piece of paper. So you gotta. It was another time, and there was a time where I had no idea what a major looked like. You know, I saw the announcement for West Coast Warzone 3, and I'm like, I don't even know how this looks. I didn't think it would, and then it's just a hotel ballroom, infinite setups. Like the first time you see something, that just blows your mind, and it's been existing for years and years and years before we ever even started playing us. That's what's crazy about it.
Yeah, it was building on something greater, right? Like we'd been working on it for so long. Like the NCR, like NCR 2010, I think that was the first NCR I actually went to.
Was that
Believe it or not.
SF State or the year before SF?
No, this is when they go to the one of the ballrooms in San Jose or something. I remember.
Didn't they call that Super NCR?
Did they call it Super NCR?
Yeah, I want to
Right,
say,
because Super came out in 2010.
yeah, it did.
So was there like
I
an
don't know.
NCR and then a Super NCR then?
I think there was
so.
just one specific year.
Oh,
where
okay. So they just called it Super
NCR.
NCR.
I don't know. I might be misremembering that. I just remembered the NCR before I started showing up. For some reason, I remember it. That was when. Oh no! Yeah.
So
I
back,
forget what year that was.
so back to the whole dojo thing. Like, basically, everyone had their own sessions, and then one session kind of dropped off the map for one reason or another. So it felt like, you know, as I sometimes joke around, right? Be the change you want to be in the world, but I really mean practice your punishes and stuff and eat your vegetables. Like I think that we had to just make something and make that available. So like it's not like everybody can come over to Terry's place and, you know, I'm a single guy, whatever. So people can come over to mine. So we just started doing that a bit more. And as a result, right? I mean, honestly, like I think it's all really about friendships. I mean, we do things like we do Christmas stuff, we do Thanksgiving stuff, we would go to movies, we would enjoy Fast and Furious as that's part of the blood ritual you need to take in to be part of the group and everything
Wait,
else.
what? Wait, explain this. What is this?
So
Well,
Fast and
Tokyo
Furious-
Drift. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah,
okay.
You know.
I was gonna say part of it is accepting that Tokyo Drift is the best one. That's kind of the entry level there. But there's just if you're someone who enters a competitive community, really in every game, you start to draw all these parallels with real life and the right. You keep drawing it, and then you look at art and you draw parallels, this, that, and everything overlaps. So just with us, these Fast and the Furious movies sort of, you know, how do I explain this better?
Remember when you said? Remember when you said?
Draw those real life parallels, and you draw from art, you draw from the game, you learn and grow as a person. There's so much overlap.
Remember
And
that
I
quote
felt like-
you said?
Which
You
one?
remember that quote? You were like, Leo,
Shut up,
I
all
just
your
watched. I just watched it, and I was like, what are you talking about? He's like,
Oh, yes, I do. I do know where you're going with this. When you're drifting
yeah.
and no life, no friend, no worries. It's just
Oh, you're
you
just-
and the road. It's just you. That's footsies. That's
Yeah.
neutral.
That's neutral.
No crowd, no commentators. It's just you, him, and the neutral, or you, them, and the neutral.
yeah.
Just going with the flow. huh?
Everything else doesn't matter. That's that level of focus when you're playing the good neutral you're supposed to. It's like what was described in
Yeah. We've created a lot of sayings. Like Eric, for example, made a really good one called like it's how you respond to someone when they lost in tournament.
Yeah.
So there's a specific one. It's
in
like
terms of being a good supportive friend.
yeah, good supportive friend. So let's say Higashi, you lose, right? You come over to me and you say, hey Leo, I lost, man. And then I might say, oh man, what happened, man? Everything what happened? And no matter what you say, I will respond, oh, the matchup?
The stick,
man.
the setup, the
Oh, you just give him an
venue.
excuse. Oh.
so it's just being gracious because like you can't teach someone while they're salty.
Right.
The learning moment happens at some point after, right? So if it's just salty venting, don't take it upon yourself to enlighten your friend, or that's not the growing moment, the moment of salt. So you just simply say what happened, they'll have whatever, thing they have to say, and that's it. And it's so effective. It's incredibly effective. Your friend calms down. You go, all right, let's work on this. And you start working, and you start improving from there on. But what was so funny is that I was doing this to Leo for months, where he would use a local, and I would say, what happened? And I would start to almost slur my words to say it funnier and funnier. I'd go, what happened? And years later, that weird Mickey Mouse gif showed up, right?
Yeah.
And then he runs over. What happened?
What happened?
I saw that, and it floored me because it was so similar to what it would do. It's just, one of us gets blown up. But anyway, so there was a specific SoCal Regionals. Leo loses, Salty, or it was a money match, Salty, whatever it was. And eventually, I just go, dude, I say that every time. I say is what happened. You'll respond. Man, that sucks. And then we move on. So it's just, to sum it up, the Salty moment's not the moment of progress.
It's so effective. I had no idea it was going on for a year.
It's good for significant others too. When their significant other loses in tournament and they want to be helpful and supportive, sometimes they cut to the advice, but it's just not.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to let them be.
Right, exactly. So, and that's difficult for both parties involved. So it's important to get good at stuff like that.
And to add on to that, I mean, just going off of that too, that's where I kind of came up with the slogan of "You're losing, you're learning." It's just like, solve really doesn't matter at that point. Like Brass says, it's just, I think as long as you can get something out of it, you're just growing.
Getting something out of it's really important, because that tournament match doesn't exist anymore in the past. So if you can benefit to any extent, you're benefiting from something that no longer exists. It can't hurt you anymore. So benefit any amount, and you're better off.
Right.
Also, it kind of shows you, like, some people would kind of avoid locals if there was only so many players in it. And then I would ask him, well, did you plan on winning it? Like, were you going to get first? Then you should have showed up, because you either would get first or there was something for you to learn. So, like, some people would duck a local if there was less than 10 players. Okay, well, did you plan on getting first? Do you think you were going to get first?
Yeah, there's basically no reason not to. So when I hit off and didn't tell anyone, when me and Sick went to Stockton to go win a tournament, we didn't tell anybody we were going. We were trying to make sure that, because we were going to win it.
That's like Bisu,
right,
dude.
you were planning on getting first.
Bisu does the same thing?
He does the same thing all the time. Genius.
What, not tell people that he's showing up to a local?
Yeah, no, he does that all the time. He does that for Dragon Ball. He does that for Street Fighter. Because, yeah, I mean, when you play multiple games like that, it's like, well, if I'm going to go to win, right? Screw all you guys. I'm not trying to win. I'm trying to make some money, dude.
Yeah.
That was a thing, not telling everybody that a local even existed. Sometimes you wouldn't even let your friends know that a local was happening.
I can imagine, like, back then, there were a lot of locals, too. Like, there were a ton of locals.
Well, there was a lot of, they were not all created equal. And there were some seedier operations. Not even naming anything. I just remember being a student and finding flyers in the local arcade that was basically like, show up to this episode. And it was just like, no, thank you. Like, that is what, like, and I remember trying to, a lot of people back in the day in the FGC, they would learn about a local or hear something, and they would have to corroborate, who else knows about this? Who knows the organizers and everything? Because it wasn't super obvious back then. And you had stories of, you'd show up and it was completely subpar equipment, or it was obviously a scam, like that, like little things like that, which is why eventually it became so important to, like, know who the organizer is in your community, because there's that level of trust you can have too. But back in the day, it was Wild West. Anyone with a console wanted.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, a lot of people try to use it for a quick dollar. You'd have these setups like, okay, if I can just get these guys in front of my hookah shop, I'm gonna make some money. So what do I need? A television. They can bring their own stuff. They just need the real estate. Oh, good. Let me get it going. And it would be the worst pizza shop you've ever been to. and all of a sudden the prices just seem way too high. So I mean, yeah, tournament organizing is a thing. So me, that was like a GameStop, so kind of felt like it was real.
What was that
But,
again?
you know, the tournament, it was like GameStop on a Sunday.
Oh, when?
This was like I almost want to say it almost too crazily, right? This sounds too weird. February 22nd, 2010, I think.
Wow.
I mean, that's the month that Street Fighter 4 came out. I know that.
No, 2009 it came out, right? Or it came out on.
Yeah, well, 08 in arcades.
Yeah, oh no, yeah. It was a year afterward, yeah.
There's 08ers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, eighters.
Yeah, we don't talk about
Before it actually came out. It was only in arcades.
It's arcades, man. They had console characters forever. Oh wait, no, sorry.
You just had the top 8 characters or whatever.
Yeah, they didn't have console characters. They were playing a slightly different.
Yeah.
Up until Arcade Edition came out, way many years later, arcades only had until Arcade Edition came out. Is that 2013, 2014? No, 2012.
2012, yeah, because they fumbled that. I watched a lot of YouTube videos about how they cannibalized their own market by coming out with Cross Tekken and AE or something in the same year because they're geniuses.
Arcade had only vanilla for even though Super was out for half.
Yes. Oh, so what we're trying to say, and I think you noticed it, like we're like basically carrying our banners here, Higashi. We're just saying like any good group has kind of an idea of like what they stand for, I guess. Like there's kind of an idea. And they might have their own little sayings and things like that. But we seem to be very vocal about what we believe. Maybe more so than other groups I've ever seen. So I mean, you're part of a few groups, right? Because as Jose likes to talk about, you like to play a lot of different games. Like,
Right.
do you have any sayings in your friend group or your little clan, if you will? Or
We just say if you don't win, you lose, dude. Like,
Wow, yeah.
The Ricky Bobby.
Hey man, yeah, you gotta come in first, right? If you're not first, you're last. And you
That's
and make
painful.
money, like what B2 would always say. Snipe,
That dude's all about
gotta
money,
snipe
huh?
him, dude. Like, yeah, like JP and B2 just snipe tournaments, dude. Don't.
wow, yeah, I heard about those things. Like when JP like posts about how he got third or something, I'm like, where?
Like where?
Like
And then Marvel.
yeah, Marvel 3, right? You're like, you almost got first and third strike in what county? Like, where are you at?
Yeah, they go out to the boonies. They'd have to-
Yeah. I'd hear about groups like yours a long time ago, and I'd find a guy from your team, and I'd say, "Why don't you come over here? It's a little warmer over here."
Yeah. So Josie, I mean, you've been a little bit quiet, so I'm curious to see what do you have anything to say about like the dojo? Like we can get some last comments from you.
Dojo? I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn. People keep saying I'm the VP here, but saying no.
So
I
are
mean,
you?
I mean, if Jose doesn't have much to say right now, just know that like Jose has always been like such a support in the FGC in general, but also very focused on the dojo. Like I remember we were taking road trips. He was making food for like the road trip and making sure we're set up, that we're good, everything functioning. And there's lots of people like you see, but to have your person kind of satellite to you, it's extremely influential for the whole group dynamic.
yeah, not for nothing. It wasn't just me. I'll say I also had support behind me. There's also my significant other, my wife. She's actually in the chat. She's saying, "Yeah, me too."
Yeah. I mean, remember when you drove Rom to that Red Bull tournament or something, and you sat in the parking lot waiting like a parent?
Yeah, I think it was in SoCal, from what I remember. It's like,
Wait, what?
yeah,
For the-
yeah,
You drove
the
him
Red
to
Bull
SoCal?
yeah. So talking about sniping tournaments, I think Rom went to a Red Bull tournament in SoCal to win it, from what I remember. So
Wait, how come
yeah,
you didn't
no,
enter?
I actually
you
remember that. He at least got to grand finals, right?
something like that. Was that the one with Flo? Can't remember.
I remember Rom getting to grand finals. I don't remember if he
No,
actually-
the one I'm talking about is the one where Rom was complaining about like the camera being in his face or something too closely, and then I thought you drove him to that event.
Yes, I did. Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, I had the weekend free. I'm like, oh, this might be a good time
Not
to
a big
just, you know.
deal. I only drove you 8 hours and then
Direction.
some.
I don't know what else to say, man. Like I said, I'm all about the community.
Did
So,
you
Did
drive-
he
that's
buy
really
you
good.
an ice
That's good.
cream?
yeah. What's up?
Did you get an ice cream or?
I think at least gas money, if anything.
Oh, okay. I would have got you some chicken fries or something like that.
Oh man.
So yeah. No, but for me, yeah, I'm very quiet about everything. I like to be behind the scenes, just making sure everything's kind of going smoothly. I think at one point, I was being called Mama Joser or something like that.
Mama Joser.
For
Oh,
a period
man.
of time, that's still
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, back in the day, yeah. But
Nice.
I
He's trying to
really,
compete with Carolyn.
I was gonna say it's the connection between Mamadar, who's the other example of an amazing support figure, and
Papa
you kinda
Joser.
need that
Mhm.
kind of connection there. Yeah, Mama Joser.
Nice.
Because Carolyn can't be in every place ever.
right.
Mhm. Nice. So you got the support, then you got the two commentators, actually. So from what I've seen and heard, Leo and Brass, you guys have both been pretty much of a staple for commentary. I remember some people like had a little nickname for you. But I don't remember what it was. Refresh my
Did we
memory
have
on.
We don't
What it
actually
was?
have a nickname.
Like a,
Oh,
we,
like
have,
a
okay.
combined name that's common.
Yeah.
with
we have
past-
a secret nickname that we don't talk about.
Oh, is there?
I might have to be reminded.
Do you remember?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I remember.
But I don't like to say it out loud because I feel like it feels so.
Well, I mean, we just like we would say two kings. I don't know
Kings.
why. We just liked it. Back
We
then,
liked it because King of 209, and then you beat Richie.
right. So we both won locals in different areas, right?
Yeah.
So- Leo wins a local in 207, which is what, Stockton, right?
209. Yeah.
209. And I win a local up in Petaluma, and we immediately feel ourselves, extremely much at that point. So he's the king of 209, and then Game of Thrones was really popular at the time, so I was king of the North for a while. And these are entirely self-inflicted names. These are no one cared.
Yeah.
These were just things that we came up with because this was during a time where crew battles were mad serious, territory was mad serious. You put stakes on things. You laid claim to things, and people would counter it in game or not. But it's not like like Leo said, it was a secret nickname because we would never say that to anyone's face because they'd be like, okay, we're running this
Two
now,
kings.
king of my neighborhood. And then, exactly, right? So it's like,
Hey.
there's a lot of boisterousness from the SF4 era that is
So here's a great
really
example.
inflated, I'd
Here's
say.
a great example, right? I won that tournament, which is like a monthly in Stockton, right? So I won it, and then I guess Mikey found out that I won it. All these other guys found out that I won this tournament. So all of a sudden, the next iteration of this tournament, they're all there, and I think Mikey won, right?
No,
That's
you mean Mikey Samurai, right?
Samurai. Yeah, that's right.
And
Excellent
this is
Samurai.
during a time where Mikey would be driving from Fresno to
that's
Stockton.
Just Gen Cal back
This is
then.
not San Jose, it's not Bay Area.
That's like a 2-hour
He-
drive.
He was at least I think it's 2.5 usually. He was driving just for sessions, not even local. from
Yeah. He would go to
Wow.
Hyro's place. He would go to
Yeah.
Hyro's place. I'm leaving at like 2 a.m, and he's not. He's still there.
He's still there
Mm.
with the drive back to Fresno to do. So
Yeah. So he won that tournament, and then he's like, "Oh, hey, Leo, I'm king of 209 now," and I'm like, "Nah, man, you're not." I
You're
wasn't there.
Samurai, and that's good enough. Dude.
Yeah. Because ever since he showed up, like some things got really difficult.
Oh, you mean when he officially moved? Yeah.
When he officially moved, it was things became very, very difficult.
We were like frogs in the frying pan. And then we're like, oh, he's here. We're all dead now.
I mean, he's still just. I mean, he's the king of Bay Area right now, right?
I mean, and
No, because Nephew and Punk live here.
Yeah, Punk is. He doesn't.
transplants are a
count.
little,
He doesn't count.
That's a little more contentious.
I mean, I guess. Mikey's like the only like native Norcalian, I guess, kind of.
We would joke that the border of NorCal was just south of Fresno.
Yeah.
that we would cut it off. So whenever Mikey won something, we'd be like, "Hey, you know he practices bus, right? Like, you know he drives north, right? He's probably a few
Yeah, I
miles
mean,
closer
he would train with the Norcal mostly, right? That's how he got most of his training.
Train with Norcal, yeah.
Yeah,
John,
I mean that's Norcal, right?
John Choi a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, like,
With
that's
John,
definitely Norcal
Champ,
then.
The
Ricky.
source.
Yeah, we had all the top players at the time. If you really want to be serious about it, right? We had the established legend type people living in NorCal.
Right.
Especially John, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Still waiting to get my set in with him. We'll see if that ever comes to pass. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit about commentary with you guys actually though, because that's what you guys were pretty much known for though, right? Besides being the two kings of NorCal, and you guys were always kind of like, I mean, you guys were like always paired together, and there must have been a reason behind that, right? So could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
I don't remember the first time. It had to have been one of the early locals, like a Starbase, a Southtown. I just remember like this was during a time where commentary was not seen as like a luxurious position. Like these days, commentary has a lot of history behind it now, and it did back in like 2010. But within fighting games, it was still a lot younger. And just during a time where it literally, for people like me and Leo, who the commentary at the time was very hype-based, very rowdy-based, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, people like me and Leo wanted to just talk about the game in a different way. Like, it wasn't about the smack talk, and it was to its extent, but such a massive percentage of fighting game commentary outside of like Evo itself was smack talk, rough commentary by design. Literally by design. It's a bunch of dudes in a dingy arcade talking smack into some SM58s that are plugged, tiny mixer and a portable streaming station back then. Was rare. The fact that Haunt back then was bringing a 2010 model laptop and doing an entirely portable streaming setup with commentators and everything inside Starbase Arcade, which was just incredibly cramped. There's this moment where there was a void in the type of commentary that me and Leo wanted.
Right. So like on that note, right, you would have people, the things that were said during the Justin TV days from some of these other people. Yeah, because if they were, they would be kicked off the internet at this point because people were drinking and they were talking on the mic and stuff. And it was really exciting because honestly, it was like the first time you would do it. So I would look at someone like Andre or Derry or Haunt, and they were having a great time. But I felt like our commentary was different, and so we felt at that time also we were competing with Wednesday Night Fights in SoCal because if you think about TNT, and so Terry was looking for the right combination because for X Factor and stuff, it had SRK branding versus Wednesday Night Fights branding. And so he wanted it to be something different. So he would literally be like, dude, get that guy off the mic. Leo, I don't care what you're doing. Just sit in this spot with him. And then at some point, the combination came about where like Andy Lee was also pretty good for us to be there. So we would have like a dedicated set of alternates. And, potentially me and Eric were one of the first people to be paid to even do it.
And that's really a credit to Terry trying to push the envelope on, the production value of locals. He's like, I want to get you guys paid there, focused on the tournament. And, that's when we started to make the decisions of, what tournaments are we not competing in and focusing on actually.
Oh, wow.
That's when that question started to come up because Terry was so forward thinking where he goes, I want to pay these guys to be. And then it finally started to come up. Okay, well, what are we focused on, right? And at the end of the day, I think we both did a really good job of just trying to do both in terms of improve at the game as much as we can, as if we're trying to be a full-time competitor, improve at commentary as best we can, as if we're trying to do that, all the time. Because the skill sets are related. Of
course.
they're in tandem, and so it was always really important, I feel, to both of us to still try to figure out how to keep competing while commentating.
Yeah.
And the local tournaments were always so gracious about that.
So when you guys were starting out, then how would you study up, or how would you like train yourself to be better commentator?
If it was game knowledge, it's the journey of trying to be the best player you can.
Right.
If it's game, you're not some hybrid commentator player. You're a player. Like, get in there and do that work, and have what you learn from that benefit your commentary. If we're talking about like the actual like performance of commentary, like the public speaking skills, you know, a lot of people, especially around that era, just took a lot of inspiration from the casters that were already big at the time for like the StarCraft. You know, Artosis, Tasteless, Day 9, big names that were exploding around the 2010 esports boom. They were just a few years earlier than a lot of people really laying down that analytical commentary. And StarCraft is a game that's so romanticized for its complexity. That's, you know, the like need for commentary really obvious in StarCraft 2, right? And StarCraft 1 already had a long history of deeply analytical commentary, right? Just fighting games weren't there yet, but that's kind of where we would take, or personally for me, if it's about the public speaking aspect of it, look at, you know, the more esportsy type communities that were already out in the 20s.
Yeah.
And they were already on top of it. Of course, you could take inspiration from sports commentary, which is great, especially if you're super into traditional sports outside of video games. That it's entirely over. There's more in common than between sports commentary and
Yeah, because like the only reason I asked that is because like we have so many examples these days, such as like, you know, Sajam, James Chen, Ultra David. There's just so many people who do commentary as a job now, and there's so many examples out there. But back then, it was like you were saying, the sports commentators, StarCraft even. I don't think even a lot of people even knew about StarCraft back then either. So
2010 was just, it was pre-2010.
It was like the early days of esports,
massive.
I guess.
So I mean, so for us, again, a lot of it was from Terry's involvement. He would spend a lot of time thinking about what it's supposed to sound like. So he was very focused on that, and he knew that we knew the game very, very well. So unlike some commentators, even the ones who are very visible these days, like we a lot of these people don't know the data, and then they never follow up on it, right? So if we didn't know something, we definitely were trying to figure that out. If there was a commercial break or something, we would try to like figure out like, hey, did we not know that or something? Like, we need to know, because you're supposed to be a resource for the audience. So we need to not be too surprised by just something basic, right? And then we're supposed to be hype when it's supposed to be hype. Something that I think is missing from a lot of the commentators that I saw kind of walk their way into some stuff for Wednesday night fights and whatnot is just the overall public speaking. For some of these guys, it's the first time that they've ever spoken to a person that isn't like a close friend or whatnot, because they're more or less shy. So for me, a lot of the benefit is the way we talk about the game was no different than the way we would talk about the game at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the way, because I think Ultra David actually talks about that too when he talks to James. It's like it's almost no different. But I think that the stress on different words and things of that nature, I've always focused on that for myself, because I would love to speak for a living, if that makes any sense. Like I like to speak a lot. I'm very gregarious or whatnot.
You do like to talk.
I like being around people and everything, and I like talking so much that I want to be good at it. So I really want to be good at telling stories. I want to be good at walking people down the park with a good tale. And so I think that that's what commentary really is. Like we're trying to imagine what the match is going to be like. We're trying to imagine the intent of each opponent. And I think of it in terms of the kind of commentary I would hear from boxing, which coincidentally I like boxing a lot. But
that's a good comparison.
You'd have a lot going on, but you have one guy talking about the strategy or what's going in each person's head and how each round leads into the next. And I think it's so important to be thinking about those higher concepts while still watching something that is going at 60 frames a second.
Yeah, I like how you would compare it to boxing as well, because that's that's basically the same thing as fighting games. Besides, it's real life, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a lot more into like boxing than just punching each other. Either there's like looking at your opponent, reading what they want to do, reading the movements. What they're watching, like their tapes as well. So that's
It's
so much
incredibly
tape, yeah.
similar. In any form of martial arts, you can draw so many parallels to fighting games, but almost any discipline, because so much of it is about how do we focus, how do we assess what our opponents want to do. Like, that is so much. We already know that that's so much fighting game. That is so much of real traditional martial arts. If an experienced fighting game person who knows nothing about martial arts has a deep conversation with someone who knows a ton about martial arts, they will find so much common ground in things that you thought were gamified and exclusive to video games. Not at all. There's so much real world application to both.
right. So another thing I wanted to try and talk about was also like when you're doing streaming, you're doing commentary over your own gameplay, right? You're basically like talking to your audience, to the chat, and you're expressing your like what you're thinking and what you're trying to do in the game. So wanted to see what Joser's take on this is, because you stream, right? You stream, right? So
Streams a lot.
yeah.
Well, I don't think I stream a lot. I'm not that type of full-time streamer that's streaming like 8 hours a day. But I do stream consistently. Thank you. So for me, when I think you're alluding to like the analysis videos that I stream sometimes.
Just in general, yeah.
In general, for me, I like as long as I'm enjoying myself, because obviously like I have too much respect for like people like Brass and OneTimeHero doing I guess major commentary, like they've been on Evil before. I'm like, that's a little bit too much for me. I think I'd rather just kind of practice it in my own space, and so that I'll do that on my own stream. So again, going back to the community and just hopefully getting people to tune in and just learn from matches in general, more specifically my matches, and even more specifically my losses.
Right.
So that if somebody didn't know, especially with like a very unfamiliar character like, let's say, Falk,
Yeah.
they'll get something out of it. And yeah, whenever like I have people in the chat say, "Oh, I had no idea, this was a thing," like that makes it worth it as a stream.
So would you say, like, if you were to do streaming, do you think you could transition that into actual like tournament commentary? Do you think, like, say if you were asked to do commentary for WNF or something, do you think you would feel confident enough to do that? Because I mean, personally, I think if you do commentary for streaming, you should be, I think you should definitely feel that confidence to be like, yeah, I can do that, easy. I have the knowledge.
That's a major obstacle for sure that a lot of people might have, is confidence. It still is for me. Like if someone were to actually tell me to do commentary for a local, I'd be like, there's other better people. It's like, why don't you hit them up first, and if they don't want it, maybe, sure. But yeah, confidence is the first thing, and then the next thing I would say is probably like experience and knowledge in terms of
Yeah,
whatever you're trying to comment.
I mean, like I think like the more that you do it, though, the better you obviously get at it, because experience is always the most important thing, just in general. What was that?
I see Leo.
What was that? What, do you disagree? You disagree?
I mean, there are people who are level 80 in gold rank of Street Fighter 5. So the more you do
Level
something
80.
doesn't make you better at it. I think there's with learning curves, right? Like you can get to a certain point from effort without thinking, and then there's a level where you have to think to do it. So when I'm talking about how I feel me and Eric were really good, is because sometimes we would do commentary and we would talk about the commentary set right after. Oh, I love how you did that. Good transition. I think this was really good information. I love how we try to pull it back, or thanks for pulling me back during this moment. Because both of us might get in a little bit of a rant, depending on how the situation goes, right? And then we cut. Because even when you watch some very famous commentators out there, some of them just keep going. When I was at Evo, that kind of happened to me a little bit, and I would have to try to pull the guy in, which is part of your job.
Yeah.
And I think that experience does help if you know what to look for, if you're focused on the product. So yes, I think speaking that way does matter, but I definitely feel that even with myself professionally in commentary as well as in my own job, I think very much about how I'm saying something, how it's being presented, and who the audience is every time. So if someone's doing that, sure. You definitely, if you're doing that, you put 100 hours in, you'll get 100 hours better. I believe you will.
It seems like you're talking about perfect practice over
Like trying
Just
to
practice in
practice
general.
over standard. Just
yes,
Putting
yeah,
more time
perfect. Yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
instead of just
Yeah.
like doing it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of guys with confidence, as Jose was saying, was missing from some people, who are just like on the mic. Hey, my name is Shadow Jago 666, right? Oh, hey, what's up, everybody? Like they're chilling and stuff, but then they're not really like they're so ignorant of what they're trying to produce that they've become extremely confident.
Mm.
So, yeah. So I think if you stream, so back to your question, right? I think if you stream, you get the experience that other people don't have about talking to a group that's not responding to you.
oh yeah.
Right? Because in real speech, so say we're all hanging out, right? If you get to look at someone and you tell a bad joke or something, you can see on their face if something happened, right? You can see kind of maybe the cues, whatnot. But somebody could be doing a bad set of commentary for a full hour. They have no idea. Boom
Somebody's
goes the
true.
dynamite, etc.
That's true. I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah. I mean, when I talk about like doing experience, it's more or less just getting yourself in that position in the first place and then improving upon that. But yeah, I can definitely see your point where like if you just do it just to do it and like you don't really think about it when you're off the clock, I can see that being like a whatever kind of gig for a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, for example, I commentated with AM Kid before. I'm sure, I don't know if he mentioned it before, but I commentated with him before. And when you do it on an actual event, the skill set's very different.
Mm-hmm.
And they make you, depending on the situation, they make you read a monitor that's like way out of scope. Like you're like, how am I supposed to see this? And there's like all these lights and stuff. So even the stuff that you're doing in stream, if you're sitting in the studio here, you know, I got a production team, I got like a water boy, I got everything over here, right? I'm used to stuff. But some people, like, there's a lot going on. And there's a person speaking in your ear too.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be like, the first time I heard Spooky talk to me in my ear, it freaked me out.
It was wonderful. We were like the fact that we were getting information in real time. Fine, this was like 12
Yeah.
But we're like, oh, and
Voice
we'll
of
just
God.
talking, and it's not like, you know, the host had to come in. All right, guys, we're gonna go to a break. It's more like we're able to incorporate it and keep it natural.
Right.
So definitely, I think it's a prerequisite, right? When you talk to 50 people on the internet or 40,000, it's pretty much the same thing. You just hope that everybody is having a good time.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. For sure.
In terms of like what personal streaming can like do for you in terms of commentary, though, I feel like personal streaming is, if you're entirely fresh, you love a game and you want to start commentating entirely fresh, you don't have the resources that we had back in the day when commentary was not romanticized. Back in 2010, they were begging for people to get on the mic, right? You don't have that. Mics are taken. It was decided before the event happened, right? Your personal stream is what you have left to just practice talking, and to practice talking about the game and talk about what's relevant during a match. It's a little trickier when it's like you commentating over your own ranked matches. It's a different skill set, kind of.
Of course.
But remember that when you get started, you have to tumble. You're going to be bad for a while. We all were, and that's, you know, we have to fight our selective memory. Like we were bad at the start, and we had an incredible opportunity where people gave us that chance to get started and be bad for a while. And being allowed to fail is big, and you don't have that.
Not anymore.
No.
What you have now is your own stream, which regardless of if people are watching you, will practice. But it's important to distinguish when someone goes, how do I get into commentary? Get that time and go back when they were dragging.
I mean, I think like anyone can do it though, right? Like Joser was
I'm not
saying
saying
earlier.
that's the only option. I'm just saying we were privileged to have, like I said, mobile stream setups in 2010.
Yeah.
Wrap your head around. Like, personal streams were not a thing in 2010.
Yeah.
Very few people are streaming from their house. But this was, someone took it upon themselves to bring it to a local and to get commentators on the mic. So it's like, if it really is just you out there, your personal stream can be your fallback to get started. But we're incredibly lucky to have been at the time and place that we were at. You know?
And by the way, I actually don't even think that necessarily we were the best at that time, because we had the really interesting commentary duo that was arguably more entertaining than us, right? It was Derry and Andre. Derry, Andre, or even Andre and Parker at some point. Like, they were both like very, very good, and so we would be swapping out teams. Versus when I'd see these Wednesday night fight streams, right? It's like they grab someone on the shoulder, they drag them in there, and then they're mixing with somebody else. Instead, we had like teams that would come in. Okay, these are approved pairs. And
that
so
structure really helped too.
It makes a big difference. And if we were bad at some point, which I assume we had to be, we just got the pleasure of just being able to sit in the same pilot seat with the same co-pilot a lot. So that was really good too.
That's hugely beneficial.
So, I mean, you experienced my commentary before, Higashi. I don't want to eat up this time too much, but you remember when I sat down and honestly raised the level of DBZF commentary in NorCal. I remember sitting down on a golden chair. And then I sat with you, and there was another guy who had like really nice shoes. He had to leave. And, I opened up everyone's mind, and you kept asking me if I played the game.
I mean, did you?
Yes, I played the game. I mean,
you can do auto combo, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. Yes.
Yeah,
what are you talking about? I was doing snapback combos to make sure I killed a guy and stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, snapback combos. Hell yeah.
I don't know what they call them for you weebs and stuff, but for us American weebs, we call them snapback combos or happy birthdays stuff.
You know what's funny is that's called get out of here. I don't know why they would call it that.
In Dragon Ball?
It's called like get out of here or something like that.
That is like the equivalent of the Smash community adopting like an FGC term and just running with it, like the Mamma Mia guys.
Oh, dude, that's godlike though. Mamma Mia, dude. Oh my god.
It's pretty good, right?
But yeah, you experienced that, right? So I mean, you guys had your normal commentary team and whatnot, and you enjoy commentary, right, Higashi? Like, what was it like to sit with, me, right?
I think it's really interesting.
With Brass before.
I mean, it's really interesting when it's someone that's not as experienced in the game as like you would be, because I mean, it's you have the experience of commentary, but obviously your game knowledge is probably a little bit lacking. But I think that the experience in terms of commentary definitely overlaps your game knowledge for sure. I think it helps a lot more in terms of like having that like public speaking, like Brass was saying. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard to say though, honestly, because I don't know. Commentary is fun, but yeah, you definitely need the experience in both ways though. I think in the long run, it's really important.
When I sat down, I tried to do a bunch of meta talk just so you guys understand just how confident I swung. So I sat down and I was like, oh man, can you believe this? He's still using these characters. I mean, isn't that not a part of the meta? I mean, the Japanese players, am I right? And then he's like,
I feel like Leo's kind of Leo seems to be articulating a cheat sheet for commentary rather than advise.
Like, you don't know the game.
If you just bring up A, B, and C, coast after that. You're established. They know you know X amount of things.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was hitting them with the first date type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I have a job.
It's the commentary purpose.
There you go.
Oh my god. But yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I mean, like I was saying, like having experience in it is really important. But yeah, knowledge is definitely supposed to be there as well. But I think it's for you, Leo. I think you can make it pass either way though. You can probably do commentary on any game, right? Almost any
Windjammers.
game.
Windjammers.
Yeah,
Windjammers.
I'm glad that you brought that up. I was an NCR commentator. I didn't want to talk about it, you know. So I was a NCR commentator for Windjammers.
They flew him in.
Nice.
Yeah, they flew me in. Yeah, I gladly accepted payment, and we were commentating international competition. Nothing different for me, and it was so fun because I was learning the game as the game was going, and I had played it at home before, but it's so much better seen in a competitive environment for $10 or whatever the prize was. It was just so
The prize, not the
amazing.
entry, the prize.
It was so amazing.
Yeah, I will
it's
say
great.
that when I heard that Leo got scooped up for Windjammers, I was impressed at the hunger to be like, yes, I will take this job. I'm hungry as all heck. I will do this. And then Leo was like, Eric, can you please do this with me? I said,
Well, you said no.
I said, I don't know the game. And Leo's like, that's not the issue. Like, just do it. And I did you solo commentate it? Did I leave you hanging to that extent? Or
Oh, so there was a section where I did it by myself, yeah. Because everybody else didn't want to do it. So then like Hanzo Gonzo eventually sat down and kept talking trash about the game. And I was trying to respect the players, right? My job there is to highlight the players, the action. It's all about the pageantry. But Hanzo Gonzo was, just so down on the game, But we're watching competition at the highest level.
just to
Nice.
not try to go down a super sidebar, but Leo brought up promoting the players, the pageantry. I forget because I'm not super involved in that scene, but there was kind of like a kind of a guidebook for pro wrestling comics for a while. I forget which like notable guy wrote it all.
Oh, I know what
down.
you're talking about.
He would refer to them as superstars. You go, they are superstars. You need to build these people up like they are Greek freaking gods. And this is how you talk about the talent. This is how you refer to the audience. It basically was sports commentary adapted to the narrative that pro wrestling brought, right? Because you're not so much commentating something that's organically happening. You're commentating something that's designed and orchestrated. So, and I know Street Fighter's different. Street Fighter's a live thing, but in terms of where you can, what other communities you can learn from, pro wrestling is big, because they have tons of challenges.
Yeah.
And it's not like the commentary is scripted. Even if the performance itself, the moves and everything, even if that's by design, the commentary is still really off the cuff. If you're a pro wrestling, you can absolutely take inspiration.
So speaking of which, I think what Higashi was trying to say earlier is the fundamentals have to be how good is this player? What is their history? What are they trying to go for in the match? Are they having trouble? Are they winning? You know what I mean? Try to communicate that while still like giving respect to the player that's losing. You should see me commentate first round of pools at Evo, right? I make those guys look like they can play the game.
There's
a lot of times
there is a whole other book to be written on how to commentate round one. Commentating round one pools is a different skill set than commentating top 32.
Yeah,
it is an entirely different situation. And there are commentators that crash and burn commentating round ones. And they don't take it upon themselves to adapt.
No,
they look at the skill levels of the players and they go, what's wrong? And I'm like, it's an open bracket, my friend. Like,
yeah, no, that's definitely a whole skill set on its own.
Right.
Is making the player look better than they are.
Right. Well, and you don't even have to be like facetious about it, or you don't have to be fake about it. You don't have to lie. You just certainly don't have to focus on the fact that the match is of
focus
a lower
on the positives
level.
that they're doing.
Yeah, there's so much you can like.
That's why people don't. That's why some top players are like, oh, I don't want to watch pool play because people, the commentators who are doing pool play, not every one of them takes it serious. And so therefore they make the audience not take it serious either.
I
The
agree with that.
commentators' enthusiasm or interest in what's
Everything.
happening on the screen is a direct projection to the audience. And so that has to be said, right?
There's so when I commentated Evo, I was working with Vicious for round 1 pools, and we're all excited. We've been waiting for Evo all year. We're super stoked. It's about to happen, and it's action. We're talking about the game and what's going to go down, and the first 2 players up are just sweep, DP, like nothing going on. Like this, it's just throwing dirt at a wall. It is what these 2 guys were doing. And me and Vicious have about just a really brief moment where we have to go, oh shit, switch gears. Like, this is not the match we thought we were jumping into. And I felt we did that well, where we immediately shifted in not articulating it as if it's high level play, but simply focusing on what we can that doesn't focus on the fact that it's not the highest level. Focus on, like, you can get a little tongue-in-cheek with it, you know? You get a little more kind of thematic with your commentary. It's almost like pretend it's boxing at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like Leo, do you remember? This was so long, and I'm sorry I'm rambling.
Hey, Ronin Rambles.
This was like SRK X Factor. There's a Balrog mirror occurring, and the commentators for every Balrog mirror for the rest of the night, there were many Balrogs in North. We immediately adopted, when we thought of it, the like transatlantic boxing commentating
1910s,
accent.
like
Hey, see, you know, like that old act, and we did what we thought was our version of like old timey radio, and we were laughing so hard. I don't even entirely remember how. Like,
I think it was like maybe it was Pavo's idea or something.
Right,
Like we just started like just all doing it no matter
you know
what.
You're right. I think Pavo was a big driving factor for that. But I'm embarrassing myself because I forgot how we got here.
What's the question?
Why did I start bringing this up? That's
Talking about pools
Our
commentary.
Pool
Yeah, round
play,
one, pool.
pageantry.
oh sure, you get more thematic. You start to commentate differently. It's something that just you're not sitting there trying to like lie or convince people that it's different than what it is, but there's still a battle going. They're still even level players, and they deserve all the respect in the world because open brackets are just such a massive cornerstone of the fighting game community. But yeah, you can lean into humor a little. And,
Yeah.
When you're commentating around.
Yeah. You can put more color commentary in it for sure.
Right. That's a good way to look at it. You lean off the analysis a little.
All right. So we're running on a little short on time, so I'll make one last topic. So here we got a lot of character loyalists here, right? Got myself playing Mika from season 1 when Mika was a god. Now Mika's not so much. We got Joser who plays Falk for whatever reason and still plays Falk. We got Leo who's been playing Balrog since 2003. And then we've got Brass who is known as the Norcal Geef. Even though he plays Guile for, because Guile is good. But yeah.
You gotta do, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to just like briefly discuss like what makes us want to keep playing the characters that we've grown to love. Like we can start with Leo because Leo's probably been playing Boxer since the iteration of Boxer. But
I've been playing Boxer since 2009. After I couldn't FADC with Ken, I saw Balrog's alternate costume, like that down jacket, and I really liked Hajime no Ippo. So I wanted to play Balrog just because it looked so cool in the temple stage. Yeah, I'm a pretty simple guy.
on
but
the
I've
temple
always,
stage.
on the temple stage, specifically Aojiro Guile, that Balrog player, and he was wearing that thing. And so I was like, man, Balrog looks really, really good, and I love how he hits people. But what keeps me playing Balrog, even to this day, is a bit of like a personal responsibility issue. Like, I feel like I want to achieve a certain height with this character, with myself, because I know other people can do it. So that means I can do it. So I'm not going to just switch because I'm not out here winning tournaments. I'm really trying to get better. So just because my win percentage goes up, but I know why it went up, you know what I'm saying? Like I get really stuck on it. So there was a certain point where I was playing against Terry in Street Fighter 4, and Balrog loses that matchup 6-4. And I played against Terry, and literally every time we played, if we played 30 games or 50 games or 100 games, it was 6-4. And it was just like, I can't make this any better. But I was definitely playing it really well. So I wasn't down on myself. You know what I mean? Like, I really liked the character. I really liked playing the way I was playing. And so even though the struggles were there, it felt part of like, this is how life is, you know? Like, I can't make myself 6'4". So if I can't be 6'4" in basketball, what can I do with my body? Right? So that's how it feels to me.
No, it reminds me of that reminds me of like this one video. I forgot who the content creator was, but this Japanese player played Honda, and Honda had notorious matchups in Street Fighter 2, where it was against DJ, I think, and it was like an 8-2 matchup. But he actually ended up winning this one set at a tournament, and the Japanese player would say, "Life doesn't give you shortcuts. You have to grit your teeth and just do what you can do. Like, there's no matchups in life. You just have to keep going with it and see what happens." That sounds a lot like what Leo went through in that matchup.
Yeah, Balrog was something. Left that a lot.
It's not even cool. I have more stories about that, but I'll leave it there.
I guess I'll go next. So for me, I love Street Fighter. It's great. I think with Street Fighter 5, I guess I wanted to take on a challenge. Before Falk, I was playing Urien. And I think someone said that you don't need a brain to play Urien.
That was season 2 Urien, right?
I think so, yeah.
Before Falk, you know. Yeah, I just asked Ted.
You still don't. I'm just saying. Just. But that's kind of how like I've approached the streaming with Falk. It's just taking on a challenge and just seeing what I can do better as a player, because actually analyzing my gameplay has brought about results. And I keep saying, like, if I can make top 8 at a logo, which I did with Falk, like, you can come out and do whatever you want, man. I'm just saying. So yeah, I think it's more like personal goals, personal growth, and just have getting a challenge out of it. And she's fun. She's super fun. Otherwise, I wouldn't have stuck with her.
Yeah, so. I think playing Falk also gives you like a little unique flavor compared to everyone else. Because I mean, like I was saying earlier, like, who else plays Falk?
And you do get that little whispers of reputation going out. I don't know if I've mentioned this. I have. At Evo, no, not Evo. I'm sorry, Combo Breaker. I was able to beat Trash. I knocked Trashbox, the #1 CFM player, into losers with Falk. So and all of a sudden, like, I hear like, dude, did you hear some Falk player knock Trashbox? I was like, wait, I'm known as that Falk player now, or the Trashbox Slayer.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think we all remember that a little bit. Like, you said that you beat Trashbox, and a lot of us know who Trashbox is. And yeah, I mean, I was impressed. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting that result. But hey, that's, if you don't know the matchup, you're gonna get shit on. So
exactly. So hopefully he learned something about Falk.
He beat you right after, right?
That's not the point.
Well, yeah.
He learned right after. I mean, he taught him.
So that's what makes him a great player.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah,
and El Chacote is still sending you checks like every week, right?
That's right. I remember El Chacote got credit for beating Trashbox on stream. Right. On stream, like, no, that's me.
They said it was.
It's like, who? El Chacote, right? Oh, it was actually me. I have it on YouTube if you just search for it.
No, I definitely agree. Like, wanting to prove that you can still do it with your character is definitely really important. Like, at least for myself, I remember when I was playing Street Fighter 5. That was my first competitive game, and Mika was Bae. You know, like, I love wrestling, so I just gravitated towards the wrestler, and I didn't know that she was going to be top tier at that time, but lo and behold, she was. He ended up winning Capcom Cup and everything. But yeah, I mean, as I saw like the nerfs progress more and more, I was like, it sucks, but you know, also I'll stick with it. It's a character I love. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just about you want to prove to yourself that you can still play well. You know, just still have fun with the character. Then I quit Street Fighter 5. But yeah, so Brass, you were known as like SF Geef, correct?
That was my first gamer tag when I started competing in Street Fighter, because pretty much moved to Norcal right when I started competing, went to SF State for college, and kind of just wanted to, you know, I was very character loyal right from the get-go, so it was like, I want to be the Geef of at least this region, right? So I just kind of picked I want to be the SF, right? And that's kind of just where that gamer tag came from. I didn't want my name to be character specific later on, and Brass was my gamer tag when I was like kid, like playing like Warcraft 2 back. I was Brass back then. Then it was SF Geef just because I liked Street Fighter so much. And yeah, pretty much that's where that name came from. Just being like, from pretty much I started competing at SF State, pretty much in the arcade. So you want to be the best at your local arcade. That's, you know, always been the age-old story within the FGC is you want to be the best of at least your character. It's almost like you're hedging your goals.
Yeah. I mean, there's like it's hella funny because like for Norcal it was you and then Ban, two players who put their character's name in their username.
Right. Well, and it was so common for Geef. There was Dan Geef, rest in peace. There was so many. If you were a Geef fan, you were a super fan, and yeah, there were so many people who incorporated like Zanjitan and Ida-san, and for some reason that character specifically influenced the gamer tags very common. But if we're just talking about like character loyalty, like personal achievement is probably the biggest one, because the reason that we pick a character and stick with it is because there's something of us in that, right? Most of the time, right? It's you get better with the character, you feel stronger yourself, right? There's an identity there that you're presenting, you're expressing yourself through your character. I feel like character loyalty was far more common in Street Fighter 4 because learning a new character was a month-long ordeal. If you put in full effort into learning a new character, it would still take you months to get anywhere where your main nature of combos and also the transfer of information back then was different. So it was really different. So people were nervous because it wasn't like SF5 where you would look at the patch notes and strategize. You only had your guy. There's a reason why there just weren't that many secondary characters in Street Fighter 4. They were around, but there were far less, in my opinion, and it was far more difficult to pick up another character.
It was like a part-time job or something. Like, you got that kind of time?
Yeah. Do you have that kind of time? Because you had to maintain multiple characters. Especially in a game like SF4 that had a high execution barrier, your skill set with a character was something that had to be maintained. It wasn't really something that was refreshed quickly. It was refreshed before the event. Like, you would have to get into training mode, tighten yourself back up to then do the event. It wasn't like you could show up and go at 3-frame buffer, 3-frame buffer. I still have all my D and the rust was more about decision making in SF. But in SF4, rust was everywhere. In every piece of your gameplay could get rusted independently of you.
You drop one combo, it could be done.
Right, exactly. And there's such a wealth of different combos.
And this all the option selects, and then the defensive option selects, and then it's like just so many things.
Characters, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like, I think it was a lot more important to have a secondary in Street Fighter 5 compared to Street Fighter 4 as well. Just because of how tiers matter in this game comparatively. And like Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 4, you can be very creative with how you play against other matchups. So
In
that
Street
makes
Fighter
sense.
4, a really big distinction was like the mid-tier characters in Street Fighter 4 were all really good at doing one thing. They were amazing counter hit, but maybe they didn't operate by themselves. But that was something about the mid-tier of SF4 that was really interesting for a second.
Yep.
You know, like hard zoner, hard grab.
Yeah. Looks like we are coming up on time though, unfortunately. We might actually, if you guys have the time, we might actually pick this up next week, if you guys feel like it. I would like to talk to you guys a little bit more about some other stuff as well, because I think this is a good opportunity. But
We could have
Sure.
ranted forever.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
easily,
Stuff. Like,
easily. But you know, Leo's got something
this flew
to
by.
do. But yeah, no,
Sorry.
it's all good, dude. But yeah, no. Thank you guys for joining us on another episode of Ronin Rambles. It's always great to talk to you guys, and I'm glad we were all able to catch up like this as well. And it's always fun. I love talking to you guys. And if you guys have any last words, please say so, or you can just sit here.
Please tune in to Leo and Jose's stream. They stream a lot more often than I do right now, and they're real good at it. Other than that, support your locals when they come back. It is great to talk to all of you guys again because we haven't had events in such a while. So, I absolutely miss everybody. So, hang in there, stay safe until we can all come back to what we've been up to.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, just Higashi, thank you for having us here.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, follow that guy. Don't follow me. Follow that guy. I'm sorry, this way.
Yeah, depending on the orientation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for pulling us together, right? I think that we don't have too many opportunities to hang out in person, which is our main thing. Like we kind of got mushy or whatever talking about dojo, just because it's our hangout thing. It's like our thing that we do. And as part of COVID, as part of the sheltering in place, like we just really haven't been able to connect in that kind of way. So in some way, oh gosh, you're helping us connect, so that's great. Definitely follow everyone's channels here, but specifically mine. And so I think that we're just doing. I think it'll be awesome if we can be here next week, talk about some of the bigger topics, because I feel like this is the kind of a pillow talky type of podcast, because we're talking about all these kind of like intimate stuff. It would be nice to talk about some of the bigger things, like for Evo and whatnot. So I'd be excited to come back next week as well. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Great.
I just wanted to add something super quickly. You know, these guys below me, they stream all the time. I'm not streaming so much right now, but I also just like, if you're someone out there who wants to learn more about the game or wants to learn more about commentary, like my DMs are open. And it's almost easier for me to just talk to someone one-on-one rather than having to structure like a workshop or a specific type of stream. Like that's kind of what stops me from, right? So if it's just someone who wants to talk, you know, hit me up. I'm sure you can. Yeah, I want to put that up in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you guys for joining us this week. Thank you, Joser. Thank you, Brass. Thank you, OneTimeHero. You guys have been great, and yeah, I'll contact you guys and see if we can do this next week as well.
No, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you.
Yeah,
But
see
yeah.
you later.
So now it's time to raid somebody. Let's see who we can do that for. We got Bisu, who's doing Final Fantasy. That'd be funny if we raided Bisu. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Call him
We were
out on
talking
his,
shit about him, so you know,
yeah,
he deserves it, right?
Right. Tell your friends about your local.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks
so,
everyone in chat though. You guys have all been great. Hopefully you guys can tune in next week as well, where we talk more shit about Bisu.
Excellent.
And this will be on YouTube
Excellent.
too, right? Yeah.
This will definitely be on YouTube. Yep, be on
Sweet,
YouTube
okay.
on my channel, and yeah, I'll let you guys know more about that later. But yeah, you can type like whatever. Yeah, follow me on Twitter. Stuff. Cool. All right. See you guys later. Yo, thanks for watching the video. It really does mean a lot to me, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to thank my recent subscribers here, because you guys actually do help out the channel and motivate me to keep pushing out content. I hope you guys all have a great day, and make sure to catch Ronin Rambles every Thursday. Peace out, y'all.
NorCal sucks ass.